Now for your forecast first, WRBL News 3 First Alert Weather.
You hear meteorologists say this all the time, ridge, a big ridge. Well, see the H right there? Nice sinking air, fair weather system that's in place. Look at this, and it kind of bulges like this. It kind of protects us, if you will. No rain and sunshine. It looks really nice across the board. Well up to the north in Canada, these systems are going to remain up here. And what we will get is just a couple weak disturbances down from the Atlantic. So nothing significant just yet. That's some good news. In the overnight forecast, a good night to observe some falling stars. Oh, we'll talk about that coming up. You're watching WRBL News 3 on your side.
Straight ahead, out of 68 homicides in Columbus this year, 60 are deemed murders. The Columbus police chief tells News 3 how many have been solved.
Next, the Columbus community gathers tonight for a vigil remembering the life of a businessman. We have a reporter on the scene.
Plus, the federal government assuring the victims of the weekend's deadly tornadoes that swift help is on the way. News 3 First Edition starts right now.
On your side, this is News 3 First Edition.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for trusting News 3. I'm Teresa Whitaker.
And I'm Phil Scoggins. We begin in Columbus, where police are investigating a late-night shooting that resulted in the death of one man. Another was injured.
Muskogee County Coroner Buddy Bryan says 22-year-old Travis Kent was shot and killed last night on Lemoore Street near Watkins Drive. Bryan confirms Kent was shot in the head and pronounced dead at 11:30. 23-year-old Hakeem Johnson was injured. His injuries believed to be non-life-threatening.
Police have not identified a suspect at this time. Anyone with information is asked to contact Columbus Police.
With more than 2 weeks left in 2021, there have been 68 homicides in Columbus. That number is up significantly from just a year ago.
WRBL talked to Police Chief Freddie Blackman about the spike in crime this afternoon. News 3's Chuck Williams joining us now.
Phil, Teresa, there were 46 homicides in 2020, and that was a lot. This year's dramatic rise has attracted the attention of everyone in the city, especially the police chief. Blue lights, crime scene tape. Scenes like this one on Far Road last week have been playing out in Columbus far too often. There have already been 22 more homicides this year over 2020. And in 2021, it's not over yet. Of the 68 homicides, police have said 60 were murders. Blackman says his detectives have solved 32 of those murders. Perhaps the boldest homicide was Amit Patel's murder while making a deposit at a Synovus branch on Buena Vista Road last week. It happened in the parking lot of a police precinct. One of the concerns is lack of staffing, that you are down so many officers that you're having trouble staffing these beats. Is that accurate?
We have vacant positions. We have officers that from time to time may have to split beats, but that's not uncommon in a law enforcement agency. From time to time, officers will have to split beats, but at the same time, services are still provided in a very professional and effective and efficient way.
Chief Blackman refuses to discuss the numbers of officers on the force or the current vacancies. Before Blackman became chief a year ago, the department regularly issued updates on staffing, including the number of vacancies. You can see the full 10-minute interview with Chief Blackman on WRBL.com. Phil, Teresa?
Thank you, Chuck. As you heard, there is a difference in the number of homicides and murders this year. Not all homicides are charged as murder. An example would be one police determined as self-defense.
Tonight, the Columbus community gathering for a candlelight vigil to remember the life of a businessman who was gunned down last week.
As Chuck reported, Columbus businessman Amit Kumar Patel was robbed and killed at the Synovus Bank on Buena Vista Road last Monday while trying to make a deposit. That's where we find News 3's Sacra Gray. She joins us now. Sacra.
Phil, Teresa, exactly a week ago, Amit Patel was making a routine trip to this bank when he was robbed and killed on the day of his daughter's 3rd birthday. Patel was the owner of a Pyramid gas station just about a mile from here, and he was a very well-respected member of the Columbus community. He was laid to rest yesterday, and every single seat was filled at his funeral. Attendees included Columbus Mayor Skip Henderson, Columbus Police Chief Freddie Blackman, Muskogee County Sheriff Greg Countryman, among others. Tonight's event starts at 5:30 and guests are asked to park at the Walmart just up the road. We'll have plenty more coming up tonight on News 3 Night Watch. I'm Sacra Gray reporting in Columbus, WRBL News 3 on your side.
Thank you so much, Sacra, for that live report.
We're keeping our eye on a number of other developing stories for you. Columbus police asking for help locating a 5-year-old girl who went missing this morning. Police say Kamari Holland was last seen today in the area of Bowman Street. Take a good look at your screen. Holland stands 3 feet 5 inches tall, weighs 45 pounds, and has brown eyes and sandy blonde hair. She was last seen wearing a pink and white shirt and maroon pants with flowers and hearts. Anyone with information concerning the whereabouts of this little girl is asked to call 911.
To Harris County now, where Superior Court Judge Gil McBride has denied bond in the first murder case the county has seen this year. Prosecutors say 68-year-old Johnny Bryant murdered 29-year-old Dylan Eldridge over a property dispute after several attempts to file a complaint with the sheriff's office failed. Defense attorney Jackie Patterson asked Judge McBride to set bond at $50,000, ordering Bryant to wear a tracker and stay away from his or the victim's property. 4 of Bryant's children testified on their father's behalf, telling the judge if he's granted a bond, he would not flee the jurisdiction. In denying bond, Judge McBride cited concerns for those still living on the property under dispute.
Our Eye on America takes us to Minnesota, where the trial of former police officer Kim Potter, charged with manslaughter in the shooting death of 20-year-old Dante Wright, has opened its second week of testimony. Dr. Lauren Jackson, the assistant medical examiner for the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office, was the first witness called to testify this morning, telling jurors that Wright's gunshot wound was not survivable. Potter maintains she mistakenly reached for her gun, thinking it was her taser. Potter resigned 2 days after the shooting.
Before heading to the break, again, we want to thank you for trusting News 3.
Let's check in with Bob right now about our weather conditions outside.
It's clear as a bell. You heard that before, right? And it continues to be that way through tonight. Now I'm going to tell you about something fun and exciting when we get away from city lights. But we got up to 65 after some areas of frost, but officially dipped down to 39. Stay connected, too. The WRBL radar app helped us this weekend. You remember during the Army-Navy game? Well, we had severe threat. You can get push notifications and much more. Check it out.
on your side. Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswald has your first alert forecast.
High pressure in the southeast. We talked about this earlier, and boy, what a break we have, especially after last Friday night, the devastating, the unprecedented tornadoes for December, record tornadoes that had that kind of strength. It was just something we don't want to see again. But remember, when the alert comes in days in advance, always have a plan. We're going to talk about that coming up shortly here and at the end of the newscast. Okay, so we look at this now. We look at a stationary front far to the north. Think about this. That's the gate of cold weather, Canadian cold air. Yeah, we still have some in place that's left over, but this one is stalled out. That's why it's red, blue, red, blue. You see that? It means it's barely moving, or it's just going to be remaining there for a little while, and other disturbances will run up there, and the rain will be up there too. But for us, it's clear, and I showed you before the break, where averages are in the low 60s. We just came above that with 65, 39 for low, 41 average low. Look at that 4-degree temperature. Can you imagine how cold that would be? Look at that. Well, we did have a record low in this state, and it happens occasionally, but not too often. So in the overnight first alert outlook, we're looking at readings that are going to continue to fall right back down to low 40s. This is at 1 a.m. So many of you will be back right down to 30s in the morning again. There could be some patchy frost in some outlying areas. And those tonight lows will show it to you. Let's get right into the early overnight. We see some upper 30s in our northern counties. This is all north of Columbus, like Pine Mountain, for example. Easy upper 30s. Some of you will remain in the 40s. You follow possibly down through our southernmost counties. We may be down in the mid to upper 40s, but it'll be chilly when you wake up. And the storm out west, we're watching this one out here. That's going to remain there right now. That's going to kind of ride through the northern central United States. And down here off the coast of Florida, we're going to watch some of that energy spill back in here, as you'll see in our forecast models. So that high pressure will keep the rain mostly away. It'll be some clouds that'll be working in. And temperatures are going to moderate a little bit too. Even though we're seeing those 60s out here, we're going to end up seeing some consistent temperatures in the upper 60s and lower 70s in the extended forecast. So our weather is going to be coming mainly from the southeast and off to the west. It tries to work in here, but look at us. Clouds, but hardly even a drop of rain in this first alert forecast. And tonight, get away from city lights. The Geminids are here. Oh, yes. Meteorologist Nicole Phillips was talking about this today because with nearly a full moon, sometimes it makes it a little bit tough, but the peak is December 14th, and that's coming up tomorrow morning. Best time in the morning, overnight 2 to 5. The farther away you get from city lights, you can potentially see 60 to 120 small little fragments zipping through the atmosphere at such speed it illuminates and it looks beautiful. So the overnight, as we said, upper 30s. Might be some fog too when it's cold like that. You can get some of that. But with 68, that's definitely a warm up coming up in this first alert forecast. And at 7-day outlook, we'll see clouds increase, as I mentioned, by midweek, but nothing really too big. But by the weekend, a front kind of stalls and it brings in some showers. Hopefully late Saturday for those people who have weddings, and they know who I'm talking about. But those temperatures, again, guys, warm up, and it becomes pretty unsettled early next week. Teresa.
Thank you so much, Bob. President Biden says he will do whatever it takes to help the people impacted by this weekend's deadly tornadoes.
Meanwhile, the Biden administration is asking about whether these storms were triggered by climate change. Skylar Henry has the story.
This is Mayfield, Kentucky. I mean, it's just devastating.
President Biden held a briefing with his emergency response coordinators and says he'll travel to Kentucky to see for himself the damage from this weekend's deadly tornadoes.
So many of the people are facing immense loss. And we talked about how we can accelerate and expand federal assistance to those in desperate need.
The president has already approved an emergency declaration and a major disaster declaration, which, among other things, allows the federal government to send in search and rescue teams, provides federal dollars for local government responses, and helps with housing for those people who have been displaced by the storms.
This administration has made it clear to every governor, whatever they need, when they need it, make it known to me. And we'll get it to them as rapidly as we can.
Tornadoes of this size and severity are incredibly rare in December, and President Biden has asked the Environmental Protection Agency to determine whether these twisters are a result of climate change.
There's a lot of things that we don't know for certain, and I don't want to say anything that is not precisely true.
The Biden administration says climate change is impacting the weather, even if this tornado isn't tied to climate change.
Because of the change in climate, because of the threat the climate crisis poses, that we have seen more extreme weather events.
Scientists say it's easier to tie extreme weather events such as wildfires and flooding to climate change than tornadoes. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Stay with us right here on News 3.
We're back in 3 minutes.
On your side, you're watching WRBL News 3 First Edition.
If you're running late on your Christmas shopping, this week is the time to get it all done.
And that's because many delivery deadlines are quickly approaching. Courtney Keeley has that story.
It's the busiest time of year at the post office, as truckloads of packages are sorted and sent to their holiday destinations.
Between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day, we're expecting 25 billion letters, cards, and packages to go through our system.
And people who want a gift delivered by Christmas need to act soon. For the majority of Americans, the deadline to ship ground with the U.S. Postal Service and FedEx is Wednesday, December 15th. The UPS cutoff depends on where you live. First-class mail, including greeting cards, must be sent through the post office by the 17th.
After that, there are several pricier options for faster service leading up to Christmas. The last chance at the post office and UPS is next day service on December 23rd. FedEx has same-day service on the 24th.
Shipping times for Amazon and other online retailers vary. Shoppers are often given an estimated delivery time.
An estimated shipping date or an estimated delivery date even is not a guarantee that your item's going to arrive on time.
Kristen McGrath from Retail Me Not says supply chain issues and weather can disrupt deliveries.
The longer you wait, the fewer options you're going to have.
She says for those who wait until the last minute, there is the option to email or text a gift.
You can get a gift card. You can get someone a subscription to a subscription service, whether that's music streaming or language learning. There are just so many options.
And experts say shoppers looking for a specific present online should buy now to make sure it arrives on time. Courtney Keeley, CBS News, New York.
You're watching News 3 First Edition.
Time now to check back in with Bob Jeswald.
Oh, we got something good coming up. I'm going to talk about these kids, while they are so important to all of us and all the great things that we're going to be talking about. Big shout out. That's all coming up in your First Alert forecast.
Hurt by big truck? 1-800-CALL-KEN.
One call, that's all.
On your side, you're watching WRBL News 3 First Edition.
As we approach International Women's Month coming up in March, WRBL is recognizing the contributions women are making to our nation and local communities.
Remarkable Women is part of a nationwide Next Star media effort to honor the influence that women have had on public policy, social progress, and quality of life. Nominees will be accepted through December 31st.
All you have to do is fill out the nomination form. Head over to our website, WRBL.com, and nominate a remarkable woman.
As far as the weather goes, Bob, still we're talking about, well, before we get to the weather, we got one more reminder we want to throw out here. You have more chances to come on out and help support Be a Holiday Heroes because the campaign continues on Wednesday.
That's right. We'll be at the McDonald's on Macon Road collecting your donations of new, Unwrapped toys for Santa's Castle at Fort Benning will also be collecting new or gently used cold weather gear for a Valley Rescue mission.
And we hope that you'll be able to join us. And Bob, if it's a day like today, it's going to be fantastic.
No excuses not to get out and do your thing. That's right. And we talked about all kinds of weather phenomena, and these kids were brilliant. They're bright. Our fourth graders, all fourth graders here at Allen Elementary today, they were wonderful. And the questions they posed were terrific. So a big shout out to them. A little closer inspection in the back row, you could see Mrs. Greer. She's our media specialist. Then there's me, and then there's Mrs. Tillman, Mrs. Floyd, and then Mr. Steve Ring on the far right. You may recognize Steve Ring from back roughly about 10 years ago. He did a little anchoring here with us, and he was also part of WRBL staff, but he's beloved. They all did well. Our leaders there are terrific, and the kids are all weather experts now. We appreciate all them. They were great. And they know everything about this First Alert 7-day forecast, guys. They knew exactly what's going on and why.
They had the best teacher.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much, Bob, and thank you for watching News 3 First Edition.